Every generation has its definitive corporate scandal. In the 1920s, it was Charles Ponzi. In the 2000s, it was Enron. But in the 2010s, that face was a rock star CEO named Adam Neumann, and his company was WeWork. At its peak, investors delusionally valued this company at a staggering $47 billion. They were told they weren't buying an office rental business. They were buying a messianic movement to elevate the world's consciousness. They poured billions into a man who sold desks as a digital social network, an empire built not on profit, but on pure, unadulterated charisma. But behind the free beer, the wild parties and the promises, WeWork was a financial black hole, run by a CEO who treated the company's treasury as his personal piggy bank. This is the story of one of the most spectacular corporate implosions in history, the rise of a cult leader CEO, the vaporizing of billions, and the ultimate $47 billion lie. Adam Neumann, an ambitious immigrant from Israel, co-founded WeWork in 2010. The core concept was simple: lease office space long-term, renovate it, and rent it out short-term. Classic real estate. But Neumann was a master illusionist. He pitched it not as a landlord, but as a $50 billion tech platform that was fundamentally changing human interaction. He didn't just sell desks, he sold a ticket to a spiritual, connected future. To venture capitalists desperate for the next big thing, this vague nonsense sounded like a genius disrupting a multi-trillion-dollar market. Neumann's ultimate enabler was Masayoshi, son of SoftBank. Captivated by Neumann's confidence, Son essentially wrote him a blank check, reportedly telling him to be crazy, not just bold. With billions flowing in, WeWork exploded across the globe. Valuations skyrocketed to $47 billion, based on nothing but Neumann's sheer force of personality and the promise of endless expansion. But the actual business model was a disaster. WeWork was locked into massive long-term leases, often 10 to 15 years, while its revenue came from highly flexible, short-term desk contracts. It was a structural mismatch, a time bomb disguised as innovation. The financial hemorrhaging was fueled by pathological spending. Free-flowing beer, kombucha, celebrity appearances, and elaborate drug-fueled company parties drained cash at an alarming rate. Even as he claimed to be on the path to profitability, WeWork was losing an average of $1.9 billion a year. The money flowing in was simply feeding the frenzy of the money flowing out. Neumann himself became the face of this unhinged excess. He used company capital for a custom private jet and multiple lavish homes, operating within a toxic, cult-like culture. He boasted about becoming the world's first trillionaire and predicted WeWork would solve world hunger. But the real betrayal was the brazen self-enrichment. Neumann treated WeWork's treasury as his personal piggy bank. He personally bought buildings and then rented them back to WeWork, profiting as both the landlord and the CEO of the tenant. In the most jaw-dropping conflict of interest, he charged the company $5.9 million simply for the rights to use the trademarked word "we," which he had somehow acquired. Neumann wasn't running a business, he was strip mining it. The moment of truth arrived in 2019 when WeWork filed its required sworn paperwork for its initial public offering. The filing exposed the staggering financials, a nearly $2 billion loss in a single year. It documented Neumann's web of self-dealing, his absurd management style, and the company's fundamentally precarious financial structure. Wall Street analysts and the media were aghast. The $47 billion valuation collapsed almost overnight to less than $10 billion. The IPO was swiftly scrapped, and Neumann was unceremoniously forced to resign as CEO. But here is the final, infuriating twist. The man who vaporized billions didn't suffer a financial loss. Despite running the company into the ground, Neumann negotiated an outrageous $1.7 billion exit package from SoftBank. While thousands of employees lost their jobs and their stock options, Neumann walked away a billionaire. It was the ultimate example of a system that guarantees monumental rewards for reckless failure at the very top. The WeWork saga is a definitive cautionary tale, a story of how charisma and limitless capital can create a bubble so big it blinds the world. It was never about community or consciousness. It was about money and how far one man was willing to lie to get it. Adam Neumann built a company valued at $47 billion on charisma and financial deceit, but the empire collapsed when reality finally caught up. That was the story of WeWork. If you found this documentary eye-opening, make sure you subscribe to Truvo for more deep dives into the biggest frauds, scams, and corporate scandals in history. Because fortunes may vanish, companies may fall, but here on Truvo, the truth always comes out.